Hello, screenwriters, and welcome to Writing for Screens, the screenwriting step-by-step project, chapter 82. Episode 82, number 82, the 82nd time we have gotten together so that I can show you my process of writing a script from rough notes to outline to rough draft, that's where we are now, to the final finished draft. I am letting you look over my shoulder, share my screen as I work on this in the hope that I can demystify the process of writing a script. In this case, a hour-long TV drama pilot, but scripts is scripts in many ways. I am not saying that this is the best or only way to write a script. It's just the way I've done it. I have been doing it for 25 years as a professional Hollywood and indie screenwriter, and I am here just to see if I can help you feel a little more like this is a thing that you can try. Okay, hello Maria. Welcome. I'm glad to see you could sneak away from work for a minute. We are going to be doing some work on the new scene the scenes that I have started. The other day I realized that there was a section that wasn't in the outline. There was a piece of it where we needed to get away from our lead characters and get to the supporting characters, and so I started to outline those. You watched me flounder a bit, which is a fine old thing. And then today I did a little work right here on today's date on the two missing scenes. Hello, Danilo from Brazil. Welcome. So here's what we're doing. I have got an outline with a couple of sequences. As you noticed last episode, I got to a scene where I really did not know what was going to happen. I had not thought it out right. And what we're going to do is move on to the other ones, and we'll come back to it. And I made this big, bold note in the outline so that I knew this was not finished. I still got stuff to do. But for the moment, we are not doing that. We are moving on to these two new scenes, about McLean, the Wall Street guy, and Shrimpton, the nurse, and their experiences being on their own, their lives when they are not web sleuthing. So what I had here was a bunch of questions. I knew that McLean had to be lonely, that he had to be seen as something of a failure or an outcast, because that's his story arc. Is that he seems like a loser, and then he is valuable to the group. No, this is the pilot outline. This is the outline just of the pilot episode and this new sequence that we're trying to do. It will relate to the big outline, but I'm not working on that right now. Hello, Mally MFC. So what I did was I got to this scene and I had these questions. The main question is, we wanted him to try to make a friend or connect with someone and fail. That was the point of this sequence. And the big question I had is, how? Like, why in particular is he having trouble with connection with people? So I went to my notes and I said, let me think about this. I wanted him to be a lonely social failure, and so I had to ask the question, why? What specifically about him is not working in this way? Then I just tried to brainstorm some things. I said, is he trying too hard? And then as I tried to imagine that, I thought, what if he detects here? In other words, when he meets someone, his mind is going, because that's what we know about him, is that he's a guy who's very, very analytical and highly intelligent. And that is the point I wanted you to get here. Use what you have. This is one of the most important principles, is when you're thinking, what about him is not working? And then I thought, oh my God, what we know about him is that he's highly intellectual, highly analytical, highly detective, brilliant. So I thought, what if that's his problem? Take the quality we already have and make it his problem. So that's what I did. I said, he can't help it. He has an analytical mind. It's his defense. It's his comfort. It's his way of dealing with stress. So that is what I came up with, and I'm going to put that here into the outline. When he's trying to meet someone, he detects, he analyzes them. So that's answering that question. And then we got to this question, which is, remember, this sequence is everybody's getting two scenes, so that we are intercutting these scenes so that we get a sense that these things are all happening at once. So the question is then, should it, of the part one and part two, does it begin with him failing, analyzing someone and turning them off, or does it begin with him being alone and then end with him having this failure? What about him being a savant? To a certain extent, that is correct. That is his character that I am working out here. Yes, I more like to think of it as he's somebody who has strengths and weaknesses, as we all do. This is not about slamming him or making him a freak. It's about saying he's really good at something in this story, but he's also got social problems. And I thought, why not make that the same quality? It's just a question of dramatic economy, of also that tends to be true of people. Their strengths often are also their difficulties. Hello, Roddy. So the question now is, do we show him being alone and then he meets someone and it fails, or do we show him, so part one, part two. So part one, part two. So here's my question. I actually had the answer to this when I typed that question, and now I have lost it. I've forgotten what I thought. Do I think it makes more sense to have to see him fail and then see him be alone? I kind of think so, because if we see him being alone and then failing, it sort of gives too much weight to the failure. The fact is, I want the failure to be just kind of commonplace for him. So yeah, this is going to be attempts to make a friend and fail. That's the point of this scene. Now the question is, where does this encounter happen? And who is the intended? Because the intended tells you something about him. One of the things I had thought is, I was kind of thinking, just to change it up without any agenda to it. I thought maybe he should be gay, but I don't want to make it seem like that is relevant. It was like I'm trying to balance out geographical areas. I was like, well, I want to try and give people different lives so that we get a sense of a larger community. But I also don't want to make that seem like it's relevant to his story or his failure or his character. Xena? Yeah, I mean, maybe, but not. But he wouldn't try this with her, and we wouldn't want to do that. Like we're trying not to make a drama out of this. We're trying to give a little poignant insight into each solitary life. That's the point. We are seeing the drug dealer be rational and yet violent. We are going to see him be brilliant but alone, etc. So the question is, where what does he do? Because I kind of thought, what if he goes to the gym? That would make sense. So yeah, I'm kind of thinking that's it. I'm kind of thinking, because I want him to be a good-looking Wall Street guy. Yeah, that's it. Jim. Okay. Okay, now we know. Then the other thing I did, I'm going to just get this out of the way, and then I'm going to try and write that up, a rough draft of it, is for Shrimpton, the thing I know about her in this scene is that we are seeing her talking to someone at work, and they start to rag on her interest, like the thing that we know is that she has left the group. She has left the group because it got too serious, and she didn't want it to be a serious crime hunting thing. She wanted it to be a fun escape. And I wanted someone to sort of attack it, and in thus doing, make her defend it. It was a way of provoking her conflicting feelings. The point of this sequence for her is conflicted feelings about leaving the group. So when I thought about that, I started to ask questions, as you always do. The questions are, who is doing it and why are they doing it? Because I know what they're doing. I've already decided that. So when you make a decision, when you make a choice of any kind, then the next thing is ask more questions. Who, why, how, when, where? So I thought someone she works with is more likely to know her, to have long-term opinions about her activities than someone she cares for. But then I thought it might be cool if it actually is a patient, but it's somebody that she knows over a long time, and she likes to talk about it, so they are asking. So basically I thought, instead of just having this person rag on it and her defend it, I thought, what if she goes to see this regular, whoever it is, and they're like, oh, what's been happening in your cases? And she's like, oh, I'm not doing that anymore. And the other person says, yeah, that was stupid. And that's what bugs her. It's that this happens sometimes when you end something that you've done, it's people will let slip their contempt of it, which they had hidden from you before. So that's what the scene is. So that's the scene. Okay, so then the question is, what are part 1 and part 2? Once again, what's the part 1 and part 2? Do I want to have the first part be, once again, that she's... because the other thing we've got is that she's trying to occupy herself essentially going through withdrawal from being a part of this group. And so that's part 1 or part 2. I kind of think this is part 2, having been bugged. Yes, it could be her husband, but I've already decided that it's at work. I want to see her at work. And also, there's a bigger dynamic with a husband, with someone you live with, that takes on a lot more weight. The fun thing about this is how casual it is. How a thing that's casual conversation has deep emotional meaning to her. So, okay, so there we go. I have answered the questions for these 2 parts, and I can now work on them. All right. So let us close this here notes thing and open the script, the rough draft o the script. All right. Okay. So that, yeah, this is just the roughest nonsense there. All right. So interior, high-end gym, New York. Morning, that's an issue. So it would have to be early morning before work. Yeah. Okay. So, because one of the things that's happening is all these things are happening in the morning while Norman and Madeline are sleeping after their night of bliss. Okay, so first of all, let's do a little describing. Fanciest machinery, the nicest, finest, snazziest decor. Near Wall Street. Okay. Yes, a writer should be worried about that, Maria. Should a writer be worried about having too many details and actions in a script? Absolutely. You do not want to over-describe and slow down the read. You want to be, the main thing that you're trying to do is get people to keep moving through the story, keep turning the page, not to get bogged down with details. That is one of the magical things about a movie or a screen experience, is the details just happen while you are seeing the scene. But on a page, you have to stop and read the details and then read the scene, and that is too much, even if it's woven together. There is a reason that screenplays are scanty on detail, because people are trying to follow the story. So, okay, so Burgess. Well, yeah, this is true. A fight ensues is not sufficient. It's a fine line. You have to balance how much detail, and yet at the same time, you can't just skimp. if you just like, shorthand everything, then nobody enjoys it. So you have to pick the few salient, powerful, emotionally relevant details, as I'm trying to do here, where I want to get a sense of this, but at the same time, I don't want to slow down the action. So I'm trying to describe. Also late 20s. I think McLean is. This is funny. I did Burgess, and I couldn't figure out why, because part of me was thinking Burgess Meredith, which is just not the person I had in mind. But I realized Burgess and McLean were two British spies in the 1930s through 50s, I think, or 60s, I think. They were Russian spies in the British hierarchy, and so I had the name McLean, which I got from Alistair McLean, the action novelist, and then McLean just went to Burgess. So I'm going to change that to Billy. Okay, so Billy, also late 20s. It's no meaningless move. He Okay, so here's a case. Yes, indeed, Kim Philby, correct, was also in that network of, I believe they were Oxford University educated, the Oxford Ring, I think they were called. Hello, Natasha. Welcome. Anyway, so what I have done here is tried to create a set of actions which tell us that this is, as I say, all good, except. Lost in thought, listening to a podcast. until Okay, so he has to say something real Sherlock Holmesy. Was the accident before or after you left? Falters, not vanishes. So orthoscopic surgery. So he's like, your knee, you have a scar, orthoscopic surgery. Looks like it's about 10 years ago. I would put you in high school. I would put you in high school, right? Are you a doctor? No. Nope. No. I'm a research. Ferguson Felton. Ferguson Felton. Upstairs. So he's no research assistant. Murchison. Make some investments upstairs. And Murchison. upstairs. I just those things together. Sweatshirt from Chicago. So you had a Chicago University, UC, had a USC. Okay, so this is going badly, and it was meant well. It's like a habit. It's like a habit. Detecting, kind of. Detecting, kind of. You know, like detecting, kind of. Like, I don't know, like just. Okay, so forcing a smile. Okay, so now he has to say something. So what have I gotten too quiet here? I'm sorry. Yeah. yeah, so I'm just writing a scene. The point is that McLean is a compulsive Sherlock Holmes type, which happens to freak some people out. But the important thing I wanted was that Billy was interested. It's not like McLean was creepy. He wasn't coming after him. He was just, that was his way of being sociable, and it wasn't. Waiting to hear. Opening line. His move. Okay, so now he has to make some final observation as Billy's walking away. So I'm trying to figure out what it is that he's what kind of last observation is he making? Ride a bicycle to work. There we go. That's good. Yeah, that's cool. Which is really nice. All right, that was fun. We wrote a scene. Okay, first of all, you got 3 screens going, and you got me on one screen and Kubrick on another, and your script on a third, and whatever helps you, pal. That's great. I am impressed and frankly relieved to have the pressure taken off me. You're multitasking me, and that is the way it should be. I'm glad. It is really fun to know how you guys use this and what you get from it. That's phenomenal. Thank you. This is Kitschy. So yeah, so now we've got, look at that, we got a whole scene here, and I like it. I know McLean differently than before I wrote this scene. I got a sense of him. That's cool. Don't need sadly because regretful is sad. See, that's a thing. Okay. In fact, don't need the... Okay. Neat. That was good. That was fun. I am going to stop there because, sometimes you stop on a high note. You stop when it's going good. This was cool. This was great. We moved the... hold on. Let's keep this... okay, so I'm going to quit final draft, boop, which leaves this, and now we can take this, So, oh, that's too small. Okay. Boom. And thus, so far, so good. Yeah, exactly. He's not a cliche now. I mean, he's got some like. Yeah, I've got a sense that he's got strengths and weaknesses, and everybody does. Everybody has more than one side to them. So that was fun. All right, guys. This has been a blast. Nice. Every day, a little progress. Pretty soon, we will have a draft. Okay. Thanks, guys. And go write something.